Hello, and welcome to a short video on mix referencing options here in NESCOM Control-C. This video is primarily focused on New England School Communications students studying immersive audio here at Husson University. So this is an Atmos kind of focused video, and Atmos mixing is kind of different than stereo mixing, and as I've learned in my adventures in Atmos mixing, there's a lot of unique challenges. And one of the things I do when I stereo mix is I'm constantly referencing commercial music. Like I will listen to my mix and I will compare it to my, I call it my ref disc, my ref playlist of material I know sounds very good. So I will compare my mix to a mix I know sounds very good, produced by another engineer, and I will say, how's my bass? How's my treble? How's my loudness? How's my panning? How's my reverb? And it kind of gives me a way of checking my work. And so I obviously preach this to all my students, and this is something I've been doing for years, and there are lots of great tools to help you do this. One tool is this plugin called Metric AB for easy comparison between your reference disc or a selection of songs and your mix, and you can switch back and forth and do comparisons. So anyway, I'm a big advocate of that, but the question is, when you get to the Atmos level and you're working in multi-channel, how do you do it at the Atmos level? So here in NESCOM, we have a couple solutions. I definitely say you must continue to reference. You know, you pan instruments all around your head. Sometimes it becomes even harder to judge how loud the mix is, how much low end there is in the mix. Should you be using the sub? Should you not be using the sub? Brightness and those sorts of things. And so referencing becomes equally important. Here at NESCOM, quick things you can do. We have an Apple TV going through a receiver, and you normally can control this via the S6, but here on this video, you can see the three inputs to the S6 I currently have set up. We have Mac, that's where we're playing Pro Tools through, so I'll press play on Pro Tools, and you can see that's Pro Tools playing there. And I can also switch to what we call the receiver, and here Apple TV, which is currently Earth, Wind, and Fire playing there in the background, in immersive, so I can quickly compare roughly how low end is sitting and treble is sitting, and even level, although I have not found a way to exactly reference level calibrate the receiver yet. I have not figured out a way to do that. I've got it kind of roughly done by ear. You do have the ability to turn one up or down to compensate, so you can, at least once you get them kind of equally set for loudness, you can do a relative comparison of low end and that sort of thing. The third option is a stereo input called Mix Ref, and that is coming out of Pro Tools here, and you've probably used this on your other projects. In this particular mix here, I have the original stereo mix here, feeding out of outputs 31 and 32 to the matrix, and I have that routed to that input on in DADMAN here in the S6, so we can listen to the stereo mix, or I can listen to my immersive mix, or of course I could listen to Apple TV. And this is a powerful input. You don't just have to listen to the stereo ref here. You could drop any old mix here, right? Any WAV file. So if you had your reference disc, your collection of songs that you use all the time when you're mixing, if you had them as audio files, you could drop them in here and switch through them as playlists, or you could make multiple tracks feeding the same output. And so there'd be other ways to do this. Going back to Metric AB is a stereo solution. It doesn't support multi-channel files, but I think when you're doing, even when you're doing immersive mixing, you can compare your surround mix to a stereo mix and judge things like level and certainly balance, how your low end is doing, how bright your mix is, and that sort of thing. So I've borrowed Metric AB for my stereo workflow, and what I've done here is I've got my ref disc here. The ref disc is actually WAV files, so this is the one challenge here for my students. Students, you typically listen to most of your music through streaming services such as Spotify. You don't actually have real audio files for your ref disc, but I recommend you either purchase actual CDs of your most important ref disc songs and then rip those files, or find another solution for getting a higher quality. And even MP4s and MP3s will work here in a pinch, getting the actual audio files in an unprotected format. And make folders. And here I've got folders for various albums I worked on, as well as my ref disc, and these songs I have drag and dropped into these areas here of metric AB, and this is essentially my ref disc. So if I go and I switch to the ref disc and I go to Dadman and I make sure we're listening to the mix ref stereo input, I can now, once I press play, I can jump between my ref discs really quickly. And of course, this is playing back in stereo, and that's maybe not quite as useful as immersive, but I think, as I said a moment ago, I think it's still very useful. This is a fantastic plugin. It's relatively cheap. If you are using it in stereo, you can put it on a track with your mix bus and press this big button here and switch between your mix and the playback mix. And there's fantastic things where you compare the spectrum analysis, the phase correlation, the stereo image, dynamic, loudness. You can be able to compare all these. I really love this plugin. But in this situation, all I'm using it for is just a playback device where I click through my reference disc. So anyway, I hope this video helps out, gives you guys some ideas, and alerts you to the possibility that it's okay to reference stereo mixes when you're working on immersive to give you an idea of tonality and not get completely lost in the world of Atmos. All right, have a great day. See you soon. Goodbye.